Hey everyone, welcome back. In this episode I'm going to tackle the lower door skin. So we're going to make this and join it somewhere within reach, probably in the center there, just under the line. So get started in templating this and then rip the door off. So I've got my cardboard gauges, I'll transfer them into some steel. So I've just got front and back so I know the differences in the shape, and the center's pretty much flat, tapers off just at the ends. But yeah, I'll make one for the center and should be good to remove the door and start going at it. Okay, so here's my piece I've cut, 1150 by 250, and I'm just going to start adding some shape into it. So as you can see, it's the shape I've got to add to it. So I'm going to take it to the slip rollers and just give it just a little tweak just to get the bottom to start rolling down, and I'll start pumping the center up. Just give it a slight little arc. Just gradually, because if you bump too much pressure into one spot, you'll kink it. Okay, so getting closer now. Okay, now we can see the top splays over, so this is fitting pretty decent at the bottom, but the top still needs to curl over. So I won't be joining up that high anyway, so it is going to fit. I'm just going to trim the top down before it actually starts to roll away from the car. I won't be able to really join there anyway. I want to planish somewhere that's pretty flat. So I'm going to give this a trim down now, probably knock 50mm off it and bring it to about here. And then I can clamp it to the door and scribe the door edge, and I'll start tipping that on. Okay, so trim down brings me to a joinable surface here, so pretty happy with how that's all sitting. There's absolutely minimal pressure there to get it to touch, and it's going to move a little bit once I tip the door edge on there. So I'm going to clamp it to the door now, take the door off, clamp it to it, and scribe my edge. Okay, so I got my slight arc added for the edges to pull down. That's all I needed for this door. As you can see, it's just turns down on the edges. Right, so we've got the door off. Sit this on there and just clamp it so we can scribe the line on the back side. Alright, so skin's clamped to it, and I've just got to scribe along the door edge itself, and then take 1mm off for the thickness of the overlap. Now I'm not too fussed if it's 1mm big everywhere, because it's easier to tighten the gap up, and it's pretty hard to make the door longer once you've already tipped that edge over. Okay, so I'm going to take it to the pull max now and just trim 10mm perimeter around this line. And what I mean by that is I'll use these shears to cut that down to size. Instead of using like a grinder or snips or anything, I've got the tool, I may as well use it. Okay. In the center section, I'll just use the guillotine. Now, normally I'd set the bead roller up with just a fence to run the straight bottom, but I'm going to try and just use the press brake. And even if it overruns a little bit, it shouldn't really matter. I've never really tried it before, so I'm going to try it now. Okay, that was a fail. I forgot that it needs more than 5mm of meat before it's actually going to have any grip, because the die, it needs something to fold against, so it's so short. So it did start it, but yeah, at least I've got a track to follow now with the bead roller. Okay, so just tipping wheel, now bead roller, and the rest. It's one of those things where it's not a one-pass wonder. It takes a fair few passes to get this, probably maybe with this machine maybe 4 or 5 passes, and we'll tip that edge over. might switch to the solid lower wheel, so it makes it a bit more crisp, but that one's good for corners and stuff. But I'll probably put a solid lower wheel in there so it's a sharper turn. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that point now. I'm going to unpick the old door skin and see where we're headed. And while I'm here, see the little gather that it's building there on the corner, because there's too much material for that to actually fold around. I'm going to attempt to use the kick shrinker now. Worst case, I'll just put 2 little tucks in the corners wherever they're trying to bunch up, just to get rid of the material that's there. Okay, so I've settled those areas down now with the kick shrinker. I just got to gradually keep shrinking those areas as I tip the flange further and further. It starts to roll off if you're not careful as well, so this is the disadvantage of not doing it on a hammer form. If you're mass producing these doors or panels like this, you had a hammer form, you can clamp it to it and it forces the metal to shrink as you tip it around, but I don't have the luxury of that at the moment. This is more of a one-off lower pair for this car, and I've already made the full door skin for my car, so I won't be doing another set of lowers again. Okay, so it makes a bit of a mess getting the skin off. You've got to buzz the lip off completely, and then it's spotted around the whole perimeter. So yeah, instead of drilling holes into this skin, I'd rather just leave those spots alone and clean up all this area, sit the new skin on. There's also some little cave-ins there. Maybe someone let the seatbelt sit in the door edge and then shut the door, so I'll get rid of that damage there and clean this area up pretty good. There's a bit of pitting and stuff here, so I'll probably do a little patch in this corner and blast inside here, and then obviously got to add this in again. Some worn away to nothing. So I've just sat the skin on just to have a gaze, and should be pretty good. It's going to all sit in the right spot once the edge is turned over. So I'll start tipping that edge over a bit more now, get it to at least just beyond 90. That's about as far as I can get the bead roller to do the tip before the wheel starts to clash into the door. So now I'm going to sharpen these edges up just using the hammer and dolly. And by sharpen it up, this is what I mean. See how round this edge is here from the tip? You use the dolly to push that edge up and really sharpen that edge up the whole way. Okay, so just turn that edge round to like 70% and slipped it over. So that's about as far as I'll go with the door skin for now, because I need to do some repairs to the inner of the door. But it should be sweet for the join. Okay, so got the top dented area pushed out. Just got to do this bit here now, this the secondary crease. Okay, so damage has been removed. Now I'm on to fixing this little piece. Okay, so I welded a little patch in there. Now I've just got to drill the ovalized hole that goes back in there. Okay, so that's the hole. It can be made bigger and wider if need be, but just leave it at that for now. Okay, so just wire wheeled the rust off the edges. Going to give it a treat and deoxidine it just to get any surface rust off there. And then I'll epoxy inside here and inside the door skin overlap before I put it back on. Alrighty, so the inner and overlapping areas are coated in epoxy to seal it all up. Same as the inner of the door skin. Any overlapping area I won't be able to reach. It'll be behind this. And I've got the inside of this as well. Put a little bolt in there to lift it up. So the door edge is pretty much tipped the whole way around now. Hammer and dolly by hand. Ready to start doing the top join now. Got just 2-3 MIG tacks on there just to hold it. The skin started pulling away when I was hitting the flange over, so I just locked it in by doing the 2 corners. Just allowed me to wrap this around without it trying to move and carry on. Okay, so I hung it on the car because I just had a hard time reaching to the join with it on the bench, on the side or on the ground. It was just a nightmare. So now I can reach in there pretty easily, so I've just got to tighten up just the corners in a few spots, just here. Other than that, should be sweet. But yeah, rather be tightening the gap than trying to make the gap smaller. It seems to be coming up okay. Just yeah, planishing it out because it's wanting to suck in as it's shrinking. Hopefully it comes good. Okay, so it's about 99% welded. I've got all the way through here. It's got this little piece left to do. Just reaching my way in now and using the Easy Beat to pull the front section out that I can't reach. It's just too far for my arm. So yeah, I've been using a concoction of tools and other shit, pretty much like little spatulas to lever in there and pry the door out while I've been welding it. Otherwise it just wants to suck inwards. But hopefully it comes good. Seems to be fitting alright. I'll battle with this in the morning and start playing with the gaps and stuff as well. But yeah, I'm buggered today. My arms are dead, so I'll continue on another day. So I was using the pipe as a spatula inside the door to push the weld outwards, and I was just tapping on the end of it myself in the face. What an idiot. So the area that I can't access that I'm trying to pull up, you can see it's trying to get that little 1mm divot up on this area here so that it matches everywhere else. It's pulled right up to it. But yeah, this area here just giving me a little bit of grief. So I'm still chasing the front area. Most areas are pretty decent on there, but there's just a few lows that are along here that I just want to chase up. It's like 1/2 mil, but yeah, I'm getting fussier by the day, so I'd rather just sort them out. This side seems pretty well sweet. Hard to hold on that hand actually. Yeah, this side's pretty well good. I can access to about here, so this is where it starts giving me grief. So at this very point here, you can just see that it's low. A few little low spots that keep giving me trouble. So I will chase them up, but it seems to be coming up okay. Now it's time to play with the bottom gaps and probably tighten up this door gap and then tighten up this gap as well once we fix this mirror area. While I give my arms a rest from bashing on this bottom bit, I'm going to try and pull this out here, and I think I'm going to cut along the edge and then have access to pull all this denting in. Someone's placed a mirror there obviously, and we've got to play with the gap anyway in that area, so I'll just start attacking there. And the reason I haven't taken the whole skin off, would have been so much easier to do this with the skin off, is it's a mess. It's already like been welded and played with here and there, that it's not just a simple neat job of just taking the whole skin off. It's spot welded around the whole perimeter as well, so it's just a nightmare if I want to put this skin back on. If I was recreating the whole skin like I did with my one, then a different story because you're remaking it all, but the added time to add the handle pocket and stuff like that, it's just, I don't know. So yeah, just slice the top and then I put my slapper in there, and I can start bumping all this area back up. I'll fill the 2 holes while I'm here, and then yeah, probably push the edge outwards just by using just a flat anything, just to push the actual door edge out to the right gap that I want it, and then I'll weld the gap up. Okay, so it's bumped up a fair amount. I'm just going to weld these holes up now before I go any further. Okay, so I've played with the gaps all around now, and seems to be fitting pretty decently. Just got to work on my join now, sort my join out a bit better, and yeah, to pretty much play with that in my own time. I can't really charge for something that I should be better at, so I'll play with that and get it better and better. But here's how it looks like on the inside. Just see in there's my join. Just not got enough access to get in there as good as I want, so just gonna have to play around with the dent puller and just be a bit slower through there. But So yeah, the gaps are much tighter now. Shuffled the door back and then played with the gaps the whole way. So as we can tell, the difference, these are like almost 10mm gaps the whole way. They're gigantic. So yeah, couldn't handle leaving them that big, so I thought I will at least tidy them up a bit, because yeah, they're just so big. So I might just do this little pillar patch area while I'm here, and then I've got this rear lower quarter, which I probably may as well do while I'm around here. Yeah, the joint where I've got access, it's pretty decent the whole way. It's not opening up. It's only where I run out of access that starts to give me a little bit of grief. So it's opening up 1mm here and there, just like a little void there, just on this. So hopefully I can get that a bit better. It's getting fussier and fussier, but I want it to be really nice. So I got a new wheel. It's Australian made. The guy only makes them locally. So gave it a paint job, painted it black. It was hammer tone grey. Not really a fan of grey, but yeah, not entirely impressed with it. Flexes a hell of a lot in the top, so got a lot of sideways movement here, and the top's not exactly square to the bottom wheel either. So I'm going to piss this little cheese 10mm plates off, and I'm going to put box section inside it, and then if we fully cap the perimeter, because yeah, 10mm plate is not sufficient for stuff like this. So you got to go like 16mm plate if you want any chance of it not moving. So it's close, but yeah, not great. So time to fix this comically bad flex. So I've got some 125 by 75 by 6, and I'm going to put internal box inside it throughout the frame. So put it here, down, and then yeah, cut the piece, just link it all up so that the frame can't actually twist, and then it actually makes the thickness of the plate not a pissy 10mm, it makes it actually 16mm thick, and then it's capped via the box. I was going to just cap the perimeters, but I still feel like the twist needs to be taken out of it, so it needs the internal box just to get these back on the same plane, because yeah, this is on the piss. Get rid of this little bed bunk brace. Absolutely doing nothing at all. Junk. Same as these little pissy braces. Not sufficient. And all the braces that were in there, just chopped all those. I'm going to sit these into areas like this, so it links up. This bolt will be welded, it'll link up the whole front of the frame, even though it's really solid already, just with the box section inside there. I'll put that piece back in here, and I'll probably put all the back pieces back in as well, just by using them cut, and just they stagger them all diagonally and weld them to the outside of the frame. So yeah, by cutting these little braces that they had between and stuff like that, I could just cut them and then link all these sections together. The box section is inside there, but just a bit of extra, why not? Okay, so it's sorted. It's all got box internally welded in there the whole way around. Then I cut these little brace pieces, stitch them to it as well. So it's yeah, pretty much solid as fucking shit now. Barely even budges. So that's good. I didn't want any side to side movement. Squared back up in the top where central. So happy days. Gonna give it a grind up now and finish painting it. So I took all the bolts out, and this assures me that it's sweet because it barely budges, and it's got no bolts even holding the upper wheel assembly together. So this is all painted. Just did some clear on there now. I'm going to add the pinstripe on in the morning. Start masking it up. It's just still way too wet to be touching it. Well, that's instant regret. The paint was obviously still too tacky. Nothing like doing things 3 times. Christ. So a few areas on the bonnet, just a patch on the outer, and then a few little patches on the inside here, just to sort out, so do them today. Because the bonnet's only 0.8, I'm going to use another piece of 0.8 that I've got left over from a piece of roof. And same process as every other time, just run it through the bead roller until the die starts to hit on the upper, and then I have to do it by hand. And just tipping the lip that extra bit over and then putting a piece in between so you don't sandwich it too far. But honestly, hitting 0.8 compared to 0.9 is like butter. So soft, works so easy. Okay, so I got to patch the inner before I can put this outer on there, but that's the piece made. Okay, so I've done all the patches around these areas, all the holes. Now I'm ready to treat this area here and ready to put the outer skin on. Right, so patches are sorted and I've got epoxy on the opposite side to seal it up. I'm ready to put the outer layer on. Alrighty, so moving on to the lower quarter here, I'm going to either do it in two options here. I'm either going to go right up to the top here where I've got access, just up here, or get access via the inner, because the inner needs to be remade anyway. So if I unpick the inner first, then I've got access inside here, and then access via the taillight bucket as well. So it's just a choose your poison approach. So I'm going to get rid of this rotisserie end and I can have a better look at it. I didn't realize the bolts were actually novelty size and larger than anything that I have. So make your own shifter, just weld some pieces to this so it's the right size and get these bolts out of the way. So there's a bit of damage to repair throughout this area. And they've done the old school step, lap and tack over on this, so I'll show you that once I pull this off. Yeah, before I get too carried away repairing these dents, it's all pitted and extremely soft here anyway, so probably get rid of that. It's a factory join here, you can see the overlap. It's a factory join that runs down through there, so I'll probably just go along here somewhere around the corner. Get rid of all that rotted junk. Okay, so I've already made this panel before, so I'm not going to fuss too much with my template. Just going to keep it pretty simple, just paper, a few scribe marks and stuff like that on the other side. Okay, so there's my template. It's just my fold marks, my outer and my shrinks have to go in the sides here. So yeah, transfer this to some steel now and see what happens. Alright, so to mark these, I just cut with a razor blade every 50 mil or so, and then once I pull the paper off, it should have little scribe marks under there. Hard to see on camera, but they are there. Now I'll go retrace those once the paper's off. Okay, so marks are transferred. I'll go trim it up on the full max now. Okay, so that's all trimmed up now. So I need to use the wheel, so I've got to unwrap it. Had a bit of an issue with the paint on the other side. I waited a whole day and then I put tape on there and the tape started to eat into the paint. It was still so soft. So yeah, I'm pretty much abandoning that now. I'm going to weld up all the holes, buzz it again, and then paint it and worry about the pinstripe. But yeah, pretty annoying, but what do you do? So yeah, decided just to ditch the bolts. They're ugly and I don't need them anyway. It's so strong now, so it looks way nicer without them. Okay, so instead of marking this 100 times when I buff it off with the wheel, I'm just going to give it a real faint tip just to lock that mark in there. Okay, so I've given it a few passes in the wheel, and you can obviously see what has to happen here. This
has to really wrap around, so I've got to go put that in the thumbnail dies and curve the corner right around to let it wrap. So I'm going to use the thumbnail dies in this area. This is the ones that really cut your gloves up because you're pushing so hard against all this sharp sheet metal that it's already tearing up brand new gloves. So, not fun. I keep taking my phone off the tripod to show you this, but it's just a fair few passes on there. You can see it's starting to wrap it around where I want it. So now it's just a battle of keep shrinking it some more and then stretch it out with either the mallet or go to the hammer. You can use it to blend it right in, whatever you really want to choose to use. Now I've got some chatter marks because I'm a fucking idiot and I didn't realise that I didn't tighten the lower tool holder, so this was loose and just moving around everywhere. So just added more work for myself to remove those out. Once I planish it, I just got to stretch all those little bite marks out of it. But yeah, fucking donkey. So yeah, I'm just going to go back on the wheel now, just get rid of my little 50-cent coin marks and start blending this corner in, and then I'll tip these edges on, that way I can lock the shape into where I want. But yeah, I just wanted it to be quite naturally resting without having to fight the hell out of it for it to be sitting in place. Right, so I'll give it another shrink and another wheel. It seems to be sitting pretty decently now, so I can trim the top edge a ton and just the whole way along really. So I'm going to tip that flange, the wheel arch flange and this lower flange now, and then keep playing with it. But I've got heaps to trim off really. I can probably take off all that down to nothing. I should lose all that corner, so I'll be joining somewhere around here, probably diagonally through there. Depends where I can get most comfortable for me to whack in there. So I just gave it a wash over then with the wheel, just to get rid of all the 50-cent coining, and I'm ready to tip this edge now. And the reason I'm only using the wheel now is I really want to learn more about the wheel and the wheel process, so I'm just forcing myself to use the wheel only, not use the planishing hammer. Just try and do this lower with just the thumbnails and the wheel, and then if I get stuck on that blend that's around the corner there, I will use the planishing hammer. But yeah, I just thought I'd try a different method. Ways to do this, but some people have different processes to do it. There's no set in stone way of how you have to actually make panels like this. It's just your own personal preference, and I sort of just wing it. However I'm feeling that day is the way I'll attack it. But I always like to see other ways people do it, because sometimes you see an idea and you're like, man, that is so much easier than the idiot way that I've been doing it. And then you change your style up a little bit. Sometimes people like to see how you do it, because you might do it a faster or easier way, but lots of little aha moments along the way where you struggle to do something. You see someone do it and you think, oh, it's only that easy the whole time, it's just knowledge. So that's tipped a fair amount of the way. I'm obviously going to have to sharpen up the edge everywhere, but I'm going to just go to the car and check how much I've got to shrink this edge to wrap it around, because obviously when I've bent this, it's flattened the panel out more. I need to shrink this to get it back into shape. Okay, so prime example of what happens when you use the bead roller to tip the edge. How flat it's made the panel now. It needs to be shrunk on the edge, and this one is going in the opposite direction. It's tried to flatten me off instead of letting it wrap around the corner. So this is causing all sorts of issues, but all easily fixed. It just needs to be shrunk in a few areas. Okay, so locking the edges in, as in these, it's bulging out at the top here saying, hey, I'm too big need to be shrunk, so I got to shrink this top corner some more to wrap it right around. I'm also going to trim this edge off because it doesn't need to be there. I'm not joining up that high. Alright, so sitting this on seems to fit right there. Top's fitting, but it's not, because that needs to come up. So in order for that bottom to come up, this top's got to lose some. I'm going to shrink that top. I do have to trim it anyway, so take some out of the top, because once you push the bottom up, it shows you that the top has too much material. So a bit more shrinking on the top edge. Alright, so sitting back on, piss all this area off now, doesn't need to be on there. Alrighty, so that's going to do for now. Sit it on, and sitting good everywhere. Just a bit more of a trim up the top here, but other than that, pretty good. Ready to unpick the inner. I'll unpick this and see what kind of mess we're dealing with under there. So we've got the old school lap, tack and slap method here, where they just use the step tool, step the original panel, slip something on it. It's good to go, mate. Yeah, we're pretty weak here. So I'm going to recreate this steps under there, so I should be able to go up there, maybe here. Let's make that the piece, get it sitting in, so I'm leaving this old lower quarter there just for reference. And then I'll make this inner first, get all my plugs and stuff sorted so I know it goes in 100%. Then I'll cut this out, put my outer on, and then I'll put that back on. So yeah, I should be able to get access through the taillight section for here, and up through there. It'll be accessible by putting, where did I put it? It's in the car? Okay. If I put my slapper down the quarter, I'm there, so at least I've got access to that joint and I can pry off the boot floor to get it where I want it to go. So it should be good. Hopefully, with any luck, I won't have to unpick this whole thing. I should just be able to replace this inner now, and then hopefully I've got access everywhere else. So my original idea was to come up this high so that I had access in the boot. But I wanted to keep my joint hidden, so I like to keep all the joints hidden for when you pop in the boot and you're having a look in the quarter and it looks pretty original. You're like, oh, it hasn't had a quarter repair or anything like that, if you be pretty strategic with your stuff. So yeah, hopefully this works out for me. So you can see lots of daylight through this, multiple spots. So new piece for it, hold that in, happy days. So just boogered that on there with the MIG. And didn't grind the weld off. It's not this side that matters, it's this side, so I'll get to that in a sec. So I'm just going to epoxy all in here, make this all sealed up, and start test fitting the quarter on and see how much to trim up. Alright, so I've got epoxy on the bottom side. I've got edge sprayed as far as up as I could get up in there, just soaked it up. Alright, so can't put it on yet, just got to wait for primer, but it's fitting decent. Just a shame because I wanted to fit it today. So quarters at the stage, ready to prime. I got about this far into priming the edge and I ran out of the can, so I got a brand new can and of course another clogged one. So yeah, this shit has turned so bad lately. It's not the quality product that it was once. It's 2 out of 4 cans are now clogged from brand new, and when they're 40 bucks a can, really pisses you off. But the worst part is I've got to go to the paint shop now. I've got to go out of my way, waste an hour and a half just to go to the paint shop and back just so I can get primer to finish this off. It's just like, fuck man, just sell something that fucking works. So my slapper obviously ran out of depth in here, so you end up cutting another dolly and turn the flash on. Make your own tools. So I've got the dolly and that side to pry the quarter out while I slap against it on this side. So, make a new tool for every job really. Got myself into a corner a little bit. I thought I had more room than I did, but it's coming good. So that's welded and grinded. Let's just hit with the 80 on the flapper. So now I'm going to hit it with the 80 on the whizzer, and then see what else I'm chasing. So that is welded and sanded, done all my plugs underneath, and a few little imperfections chased, but nothing really worth worrying about. Primer will fill most of those, and you've got access. If I want to play further, I can go further and further, but yeah, no join visible from inside, which was the goal. But I think I'll clean up all this mess and probably wrap things up here. This nearly one whole side of the car done now, so I think I've got a little patch here to do, and I think I've got a hole at the end of the body line. I'll probably not have that elongated. I'll probably round that back off. There's another little hole there, but that's nearly one whole side of the car done, so pretty big milestone. And to the next side, which is arguably much worse condition. So pretty happy overall with how that came out. Touch more just to go, little pickups and stuff on the edges, but I've got access all around now, which is really good. And as for the elongation that's happened on the hole, someone's actually already welded in a little piece here, which is very bizarre. It's not like that factory, it's actually a pressed in factory, so I'm curious as to why, one, that one's been welded in, and two, they've elongated it to tuck the bumper tighter. So I'm going to get Richard to bring the bar before it goes to the chromers, just to make sure and see what's actually going on there. But I'm going to go pick up a big C-style planishing hammer, handheld one, so I can get to that last little section of that door that I couldn't reach. Probably end up having to make some custom tube hoops for it to reach in there, but I think it'll be a worthwhile investment, especially for areas like the corner of roofs and stuff. Save hammering and doling by hand, and I should be able to get inside taillight buckets as well and get pretty far in. So another little tool to the collection. Always seem to be adding more to do better work. Alrighty, so I'm wrapping things up here. I've still got this little patch to do here and the patch on the body line there, but that's as far as I'll go this week. I'm going to shuffle some things around and jump on another car, an R100 sitting here that I've got to do a few days on. So yeah, I also did the bonnet section, still needs a little bit of repairs on the top skin. All the inner and stuff is all sorted out. So yeah, I'll probably maybe throw in some bonus footage of some stuff I've done to mine. But I guess I'll go see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I made custom drop knuckles all around for mine, and just picked up the tie rod and rack ends for it, so I can get the steering rack hooked up that I shortened. And yeah, should be pretty good to have it rolling, but been focused on many other things at the moment, so this is really on the back burner. So in the section here, we've got the lower leg off. We get this little step down notch, just cut it off and leave it on for the items. This is the goes there, so hold the locking tab, the ramp sneak. Maybe leave it off, but you can do 10 minutes work, so it's nice to be able to end the battery. Through there now. Okay, and it's all shortened. And because of the drop knuckles having to fit in such small wheels, I moved the tie rod point up 12mm. So I put my 12mm spacers under the rack to accommodate that.